Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thursday night. What we do here, grown folks business, good community oriented, community focused in terms of relationship building, getting to know each other, stepping outside of your comfort zone, stepping outside of your neighborhood, stepping outside of your demographic. We're here in the space to share a little bit of this and that. And this week we're keeping it light. I know some of you may be disappointed. Generally, we're a little heavy on the topics, and I think as vacation season is in full swing, it's nice to take a little step back and do a little light thinking and just have some nice conversations and no worries about politics or racism or pop culture. Because we could talk about Bill Cosby. He's out. Um, America's father has come home. America's dad, whatever his words were back then. I would definitely be talking about that in the context of the dangers of hero worshiping. You should not put people up so high on a pedestal that the fall is, disturbing to you and all parties. Nobody should be just elevated to any type of status that puts them above reproach. Hello, Marsha. Great to see you. I'll be talking to you soon. That will be a part of my travel plans to get back down to Alabama at some point this summer. And that's the topic, because we could talk about Trump and the fact that some of his people have been arrested for fraudulent tax evasion practices and such. But that's not what we're here for. We'll talk about the importance of travel and importance of stepping outside of yourself and doing something new. And I kind of couch that because we've had conversations about how important it is to go out and about and see the world as much as you can. And I think the United States is as good as place as any. You don't have to leave this country to really see some beautiful things. So we're talking about that in the same context as we have before here and with the NC 100 or the NC Leap kids. But we're also talking about exploring new opportunities, doing things that you never thought you would. That's critical, I think, to growth. It's critical to maturity. It's critical to understanding your limitations and that something else may interest you that you just never gave a second thought to. So first off, I want to say hello to Alana. She's a very near dear friend, and she's been with us before in the past, but it's been a while, so welcome back.
Hi,
All right. And the mainstays, of course, Gregory and Julia, brother Mike, and a special welcome to Khalik. Did I say it right?
Yes, sir, brother Khalid.
All right, brother Khalik.
Thank you for
Welcome, young. Yeah, absolutely. Young 16-year-old brother. I hope I didn't give away your age. You're not at the point where you're embarrassed of that yet, man. So glad you could come in and share the space and place. I don't know how much you've traveled in your young 16 years, but it's important. And I don't care if it's an hour drive to a new park that you never saw before. It is that important to just get out of your space and see some new stuff. So that's pretty much the topic of today. Brother Mike, I'll start with you because I definitely want to give you, for one, the opportunity to update us on anything that you've been doing of late. But for two, you are very open and honest about your background and what you've experienced. Can you briefly touch on how important it was for you to see more of the world you had that you had seen, if I'm saying it correctly, to see more of the world than you had seen after you came home? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I was introduced to the world at a young age by my grandparents. A lot of black communities, the church is going a lot of vacations, a lot of church conventions. I think probably the farthest I went with them was Boston, Massachusetts. Um, what I would speak on about these things is I was introduced to society, to a different part of America very fast. Not common as most black communities, young people my age. Fast forward, I was introduced to another part of it while I was shackled, while I was living in a 6x9. My first prison sentence, I was sent to Atlanta, Georgia. From Atlanta, Georgia, to South Carolina, Edgefield. From Edgefield, South Carolina, back to Atlanta, Georgia. From Atlanta, Georgia, back to Mariana, Florida, all through the luxurious FBOP, Federal Bureau of Prisons. So I got to see the world at an early age from my kids. I mean, as a kid with my grandparents, and then I got to see it in the prison time, and while I was in the military, I got to see a little part of the world. Germany, Iraq, saw part of a place you didn't want to see, foreign land, and the sandbox. So I was introduced to a lot of things that really helped my transition back to society. Made it a lot, I would say, a lot smoother. Well, I say smoother because I was ready for anything. I mean, I'm, as you're saying, it's TTG. I'm trained to go because I wasn't thrown into this and then had to come back and do it. I had been through so much at an early age by being raised by my wonderful grandparents, rest in peace to them, that they had prepped me for life already, you know? So a big shout out to my grandparents, Bob and Robert Harris. They are deceased, but they passed in 14 and 15, but they prepared me for a lot of this stuff, man. So coming back from prison, it was like, all right, what you got next, devil or society? Let's go, you know? So that's a little bit of that right there.
I salute your grandparents, Mike. That's awesome. It's very important and critical, and we're gonna come back to Khalid for that part of the conversation for the adults that can take you places and show you new things to do so. Man, it's a big part of your formative years. It's critical. And Mike, regardless of the circumstances you experienced, you knew something else was out there. So, like you said, you're ready for it. Well, like. I've seen this. I've done that. And I've been to Germany. I've been here, been there. So, you know, you're fearless at some point. You're not scared to go somewhere, my man. Welcome to Merrill. Glad you slid in the home. Good to see you, man. We got a good amount of people in the space. And, you know, tonight we're talking about the importance of travel again, but also tacking on trying new things, man. We're in travel season. I know you've recently had a vacation. It's very important to get away, go away, do something different. And as I've stated, take an hour and a half drive, 2 hour drive. Some people are getting ready to do that in the next few. Just escape a little bit, recalibrate. But understand that you don't have to have gone to Puerto Rico or Costa Rica. You can go to a park, spend the day. It's very important. And like I said, trying new things. So we'll get to some of that too. So I'm coming to you, Khalid. What's the furthest you've gone and what's the most you've done?
The furthest I have gone is Houston, Texas, and this was about 2011, between 2011 and 2013. My dad, he drove trucks. He still does actually. So that's very important. I also have traveled to Chicago, New York, and I've lived in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for a significant amount of time.
You say you 36, right? Come on, man. You've been a lot of places in a short period of time, man. You got documents to prove all of that travel, man. That's what's up. I'm glad you got to see some of this beautiful country. Texas is. What did you think about Texas, man?
It was nice. The first time I went to Texas, we were driving in. We had entered like some part, like branching off of a highway. And as soon as I got into Texas, it was no disrespect or anything. It was a homeless man. He came banging on the window. So it was different right here in Rocky Mount. You know, I've never seen anything like that. So it was nice. Exposure is very nice.
Hey, I brought him to Greensboro this weekend, and we ran into an intersection. There was two Muslim brothers selling bean pies and papers. He was like, "Man, I ain't never seen that right there. If I could have captured that moment, man, it was like life to him."
I'm guessing you were probably on M. Eugene and what's that? The Gate City? Yeah. That's what's up, man. Hey, Khalid, it's very important, and I'm getting the sense that you already understand how critical it is, especially at your age, to go see some other things, man. Because
Exposure is very important.
Yeah, man. Expose yourself to it. And in your case, these older folks, I can't get through to them if they haven't gotten it already, but I think they have. Man, read books, man. They take you everywhere else.
Absolutely.
If you can't get there physically, read that book.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Greg and Julia, I remember us discussing how important that trip to India was to you guys and how fulfilling it was. With that same idea, expand upon the reasoning, because doing something you haven't done before, I mean, some of us do it willy-nilly, just off of the flip of a coin, but for you guys to go and to do some heavy work in India and to really commit to living a certain lifestyle for a period of time, what goes into thinking? And it doesn't have to just be about India. I'm sure you guys have done other things, but just tell us, the plans that you make before you do something, that big.
And I'll ask Gregory to help with this. It was all about service and where we could serve the most. But before I say that, before I get to India, can I tell about the best trip we've had in a long time, which was just on Monday.
Definitely do that. And if you leave out something about India, that's fine. I just was using that as a recall. We can go back and replay that show. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Great. We went to Reidsville and we met Brother Mike and his lovely son, Jasira. Am I saying that right, Brother Mike? Jasira?
You get a pass. You can chop it up. Jasira.
Jasira.
Sis.
Jasira.
Don't too many people get a pass now.
Thank you, Mike.
We appreciate the pass. It was just lovely. I have never been to Reidsville, and we started out at the Sheet Station meeting Brother Mike to exchange coolers, and then we went to the beautiful community garden where we picked some beautiful vegetables. Prettiest zucchini. The jalapeno was the best. I did have a souvenir jalapeno that Mike gave me to bring home. But his son helped water the plants, and Brother Mike was so good with guiding his son, not putting up with him just spraying the water everywhere, but offering good discipline and guidance, which is so important. And we just had a wonderful time there. And then we followed Brother Mike to his football practice. And we got to see him in action with, how old were those young people?
We are 5 to 12.
5 to 12. And there was girls, right? Did I see some girls? Or maybe they were just
been out there with, they might have been out there with their brothers or ready for cheerleading.
Okay.
Coach Jerome.
And Coach Jerome was awesome. So dedicated. It was so hot, but the kids were excited. The heat did not matter at all. So we helped fill water bottles and just tried to do what we could. And it was like the best. It was better than going to Hawaii. So, that's what it's all about, meeting and connecting with people. And it doesn't have to be, like Felton said, it can be a park. And kudos to Kalik's father, truck driver. That's what Gregory was. To your father for taking you and sharing those experiences with you. Sorry, I've talked too much.
No, you're just fine. So I saw the picture. And I had a feeling where you were going. I saw the picture of you guys at the community garden, beautiful stuff. And service is super intricate to reasons to go somewhere else and do something else. Some of my best experiences travel wise were when I was working at the Y, and I would take kids to college tours out of town. I was emphatic. Matter of fact, and my predecessor, we were both emphatic about taking kids outside of North Carolina and exploring schools in other regions. and Atlanta was a destination, and Washington D.C. was another destination. And of course, while we're there, we're doing other things. Khalid, that's exactly what I mean by how critical it is to be at that age and to know that you have been somewhere and saw something that, you know, a lot of your friends may just be like, they know the 2 or 3 blocks that they live in, but you've actually been to Houston, Texas, a huge place, huge. Alana,
and the best Mexican food ever. If you like Mexican food,
yeah, you're so close. It's probably, you know, it's still hot when it gets right over the border. Yeah, it's gotta be fresh. Gotta be fresh. No Taco Bells can survive in that area. I don't think they can make it there. Good observation, Julia. And we can come back to anything about India. That was perfect. You get my drift. I just know we had discussed it before. Right quick before I get to you, Alana. Marcia says, I was able to travel extensively throughout the U.S. as a medical school recruiter. Upon retiring, I have an opportunity to visit Europe and Asia. My plans are to continue to travel. However, I'm staying close to home. Exactly. Yeah, Marcia, I know you get to hitting the road and the skyways, and that's, you know, nothing wrong with that. Go see some places, especially at times your career, especially if your career is affecting where you may be, and why not let it? Go see somewhere else. You know, you're guaranteed to already be working when you get there. So, Alana, tell us what you got going on, and good that you could be back in the space with us. But what do you feel is or why do you feel is critical to explore and travel and see and do new things?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me back. Thank you. And I feel that it's very critical to see outside of your area because, like you said before, it provides growth and maturity. You're able to speak in different ways, think about things differently, see different cultures, and not just be self-centered and in a box. You're able to open up and actually have other perspectives. So that's pretty much what I think about having different travels and things of that nature.
Now, full disclosure, Alana is the mother to my wonderful goddaughter. So I love both of them, but my goddaughter is she's growing up too fast and she's super special. So
I feel like he loves her more, but you know, that's neither here nor there.
I didn't say that.
I know.
So can you tell us how much effort do you put into making sure you expose her to new things and different places?
That's vital because I don't want her to think it's just one way, and not prepare her for when she enters the world and have a shocker. So I try to expose her to different languages, to different types of music, anything. We have a relocation coming up where we're going to Miami. So she's going to be exposed to a whole different vibe. And so I think that is important, especially for these impressionable moments in her life. So that when she gets older, she can look back and say, you know, Mom really definitely tried to mold and shape me to be the best version of myself. So, yeah, that's where we are in life right now.
Yeah, let's go.
Some type of way.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. You said giving stuff away.
No, I said I know you feel some type of way.
Oh yeah. You definitely are taking a further way than you need to, but this time in between, it's not immediate. So
yes.
Maybe she's still interested in going to the Natural Science Center or a museum in Raleigh, like we did before when she was so much younger, like a year or two. So yeah, she's almost an adult. But y'all be safe and sound and you know, take care. But so Alana's career is at this point it's something that's taken her in a new direction if she decides to pursue an opportunity that has come up. So that's what having done some things prior. I think you lived in Miami briefly.
I did. Yeah, that was a part of the political campaign for Barack Obama. And it's a part of networking. It's all about just being open and friendly and just showing yourself friendly so that you can have those opportunities. But yes, that took me to Florida to do community outreach and get people registered to vote. And when he got elected, then it took me up to DC. So you just kind of go with the vibe and go with the flow of things and just be open. Just being open is like really the key to everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is somewhere we're headed with this conversation. The where does it all lead comment, and your response being open is critical to finding that out. So with the fact that your career is going to take you to a familiar place, without that travel and that work that led to you there in the first place, you might be a little unfamiliar, a little hesitant, but you know it now. You know enough, and you're like, if I decide to do this,
right, and you come back more confident, which confidence leads to different opportunities as well. So having that experience prior, then the span, and then coming back, you're like, okay, now I'm more mature. I can speak more eloquently, if you will. Things of that nature. Just growing and maturing.
Exposing yourself to new things kind of may have you move in a little different way, and it's not reflective in a negative way of anything you come from or anywhere you've been. It just means that you're like, I like the way this goes over here, and I kind of get this part of this season and element from this culture over here.
Right.
And America's full of culture, filled brimming over with culture. From the Pacific to the Atlantic and North and South, there's so much culture here. So Merrill, I'm going to come to you now. I know you've done some recent travels, and I know you have a complete and total understanding of what we're talking about when it means trying something new. I'm going to say this because I think it was a something new moment that we're all grateful for. The creation and the energy that goes into NC 100 to bringing this thing to life. When you first started out, like 3 years ago, I was there in some shadowy way, like a CIA agent or something. I was there. And then this past year, in 2020, I came back to the fold, and I saw that, Merrill's been busy growing this baby, nurturing it and feeding it and putting some effort into making sure that it's sustainable. And that's appreciable, man. Being in this space right here, this is appreciable. So this was something new. This was taking a chance. You don't have to make it just about that. I just, gave you a pretty good setup, but you don't have to follow through if you don't like. But what's important to you about trying stuff that's new? What shaped and molded you travel wise? What exposed something or clicked something in the world when you saw something different? It was like, wow, that really is here. That exists.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think growing up, I have my aunt. She lived in Yonkers, New York, and so I spent my summers in New York. And it's probably, I tell people, first of all, I'm very close to age 50. So the Charlotte Hornets and the Carolina Panthers were not in existence when I was a young person. So when people ask me about the teams that I like, and I say, there are teams that are, in New York, I'm a Mets fan, I'm a New York Giants fan, I'm a Boston Celtics in basketball. People ask me, why don't I like the North Carolina teams? Because they weren't around, locally when I was growing up as a kid. And so I think spending time there and just being able to go into the city and just kind of seeing just how amazing, how many different types of people were around and the folks in her neighborhood. And when I would go into the city and see just all the different cultures and foods and stuff, it just kind of opened me up to a lot of different things at an early age. And I think one of the things about, NC 100 that we wanted to do when we started working with our students, we wanted to expose them to not only other places. And so, we've been to different places, we took the kids to Atlanta, we went to Montgomery, Alabama, we've done some college tours and stuff. But the key was we were going to places where there were other Rockingham County people there who they don't live in Rockingham County, but they're contributing and doing like really cool stuff, and having conversations about you can go anywhere, and you are entitled to go anywhere and be anywhere. And hopefully there may be some things that you learn and some resources that you might be able to bring back to the community once you get to that, that space where you can. So I think it's just vastly important to just be exposed to stuff, venture out, try things that are different, like you were saying. And travel is one of those things. I've been blessed to be able to go and see and do some really cool stuff. So this is just vitally important for people just to venture out and just be uncomfortable for a second, and see what other people are doing that you can bring back and share with the people in your hometown. So
yeah, absolutely. I definitely have mentioned this before, maybe not at length, but going somewhere, seeing something different. And if you ever have the opportunity to do that in another country, as Brother Mike mentioned, Germany, I had the opportunity to go there once. And I actually went to Amsterdam first for a couple of days. Another place that is so rich in culture and history. And I remember going into a bar that was like carved out of the mud, whatever it was. You could see the dirt on the walls. And this bar had been functioning in some way or another since, I don't know, 1780 something or something. This place predated, our what we know as to be America. So I'm in a place that was fully functional, pirates and the whole, 9 in and out of the ports. And it's amazing to go somewhere that's brimming over with so many things that you don't even think about. And when they're in your face, it's like, wow, this was pretty awesome. I had a chance to visit, and I may have mentioned before, Anne Frank's, the place where she hid out when the Nazis were in power. So tiny. I don't know how they hid out there, because I could barely walk through there. And I know I'm tall, but I mean, I think Khalik would be struggling to get around in there. That's how tiny it was. And I got to ride on the Autobahn, one of Hitler's contributions that still withstands the test of time. And it's pretty much considered a marvel, because it's a seamless road. There's no brackets in the road. It was for tank transport, but now cars can drive whatever speed they like on that road, and it's smooth, super smooth. But anyway, I think trying something new can lead you other places. Open yourself up to opportunity, Alana, like your new career opportunity. For me, golf, something I never thought I'd do. I never, now I can't. Now I'm like addicted to it. But what golf also does for me is have me look in random places to see what the course is like. And if I want to, go check it out, I know I'm going to play some golf, but I get to go see something different, in a different part of the state or in another state altogether. And most recently, I took a trip with a couple buddies to a place called Fancy Gap, Roaring Gap area up in Virginia, North Carolina border. I've started to try to send down you some pictures. It was just amazing. The views, the air, 70 degrees, 72, and it's perfect. I know one day we played 2 rounds and didn't even break a sweat. Went down the hill to the little general store and got a chicken biscuit, local stuff. Very important to go do things that are there in the area. One of the worst things you can do is, if you're traveling with me or if you tell me you went somewhere, is tell me you went to McDonald's or Burger King. That's one of the most, man, don't ever do that. Khalik, don't ever do that, man. I mean, ever. if you go somewhere that's local, get something new and different. So that's important. You have to think about, I can get this back home. Why would I want to do that here? So going back around the space, the question of where does it all lead? I know it's a bit vague, or just it's kind of a thought-provoking question is the way I looked at it. And yeah, as Alana said, you have to open yourself up to find that out. So at this point in your life, think about where it has led and think about where else it can lead you. Travel, being open to new opportunities. So that question should answer itself in some way, shape, or form. I'm in a PhD program, something else I never thought about, but I opened myself up to academia. I opened myself up to challenging myself to see if a place that I know Black Americans not represented would allow me to enter and thrive. And I haven't got to the thrive part. So, but yeah, I think I fit here, and I'm trying to make sure that more of us get the opportunity to. I want to set a good example. So that's how I mean it. You know, where is it taking you? Where would lead? I know that where I'm at now, how history became a real significant thing. I've always had an affinity for it, but going to Amsterdam just put the world in context. This place was here before the United States was even founded, discovered, even though people already. But that type of thing was kind of prompting for me. So where does it all lead? Alana, we'll come back to you since you said the open up part. Got to be open.
So where does it all lead? Break that down for me, friend. Like
I thought I just did.
I missed it. I'm trying to catch. I fumbled it. I'm sorry. Let's do it again.
Yeah, you did. You dropped the pass, yeah. So if you think about where you're at now in your life, you just got a new opportunity. But what made you even say I'll apply for that? What leads you to that moment? So it's where does it all lead cannot be answered in totality right now, but where it's led you to this point. Think about it in that.
Well, it was just about seeing where. Okay, let me back up. I just put my resume out there, dusted it off, and just see where it was going to go. I didn't think I was going to get a job. I didn't think it was going to lead me to where it led me. I just, again, opened myself up to whatever opportunity would come to me. If that meant staying here, then I was fine with that. If it meant nobody was interested in my skill set, I was fine with that too, because I'm employed. But I mean, that's just kind of where it was. I just want to be open to whatever may come. And I'm glad that it led to that step, because now I like entertainment, the entertainment industry. We know Miami is big for entertainment industry, right? So I'm not closing myself off to anything. Anything.
You're doing a great job of answering the question. So it leads you to something else you have a passion a passion for. You have a passion for the entertainment industry, and you know that Miami's a central place for that. So yeah, that's where it leads then. And it's still not finished after that, but where does it lead? Where does being active in pursuing exposure to new things, travel, or just opportunity, where does it lead? So yeah, I think you actually may have helped clarify the question even more to the room. So I appreciate that. Meryl, I see your gears turning. Oh, Marsha says travelers always made appreciate home. Absolutely, Marsha. Yeah, when you go somewhere and you're gone for a couple of days, man, it's nothing like coming home sleeping in your own bed. It's just nothing like that.
I'm gonna take my man's. I'm gonna take that. Okay, so you're gonna see me doing that.
Absolutely. Go ahead, bro. What about you, man?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. That's a really interesting question. I'm like thinking about like things, places, things you've seen, and like what did it lead to by like those observations. I went to the Dominican Republic. I've been a few times, but I think the first time I went, this was at the very early stages of me trying to understand a little bit of the work I was doing at self-help, because I didn't understand like the real estate side. And I was just asking a bunch of questions about like the real estate development, kind of like what that whole process was. And like there was just like these bits and pieces of like how, and I don't want to get too academic or like too nerdy about like how land trusts are set up, but like I started asking these questions about like how land trusts are set up and stuff, and to one of the guys at the resort one night, and then it started to click, because like I didn't understand it while I was actually at work, but I understood it like when I was seeing it in action. So like that helped me understand it in a way to help me perform as a better community development type person, back here in the States. And then then I was able to kind of be more effective when we were doing stuff in like Chicago and California. So like I probably wouldn't have been one of the folks doing some of that work in those places if I didn't have a better, if I didn't pick it up, the work that it takes to kind of, get those agreements to do like real community development and real estate development at the same time. So I'd say, a trip to the Dominican.
Yeah. It's so it can be so connected even if you don't know it, but that's where it leads, right? You went there for one thing and you find something else out that's beneficial to your work and what you're doing. And yeah, I'm a doer, man. I don't, I'm a figure out person. So you can tell me or I can see it, but until I start doing it, and the circumstances can just create an opportunity for what they call a teachable moment or a learning moment. And that's when you're like, oh, what do they call it? The aha moment. Oh, I get it now. So yeah, sometimes you gotta just go out there and get those. Khalid, did you get enough understanding of my question, or do I need to rephrase it?
No, sir, I did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like traveling leads to a lot of different things, and especially exposure, and it can lead also to a lot of knowledge and exposure to different cultures. I know when I stayed in Harrisburg, that was my first time living out of Rocky Mount, and it was a lot of different things, and it was a lot of open air, it opened you up to a lot of things, because up north is very different from down here. Like when I was in Pennsylvania, I did my first talent show, and I did a talent show for Michael Jackson. I was Michael Jackson in the talent show, and I had never experienced anything like that, a stage, a crowd, or anything. It was very enlightening, and especially in like New York and places like that. I had never seen like 100-story buildings or anything of that nature, so it was very special.
Man, yeah. And look, man, for one, I want to give you super props for being so respectful. I appreciate that. That's a lost art, and it doesn't cost you anything, man. It doesn't cost a thing, and you'd be surprised what it gets you. Just keep up with that, man. Don't forget that. And Brother Mike, I'm sure, has had some impact and guidance in some of that. Yeah, man, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Keep it up. And Rocky Mount, it's a nice place, beautiful place. Yeah, I like Rocky Mount. Yeah, so definitely when you go somewhere. Go ahead.
I'm actually at the councilman's house.
Okay, that's what's up, man. Tell him I said hello. Indeed, man. But yeah, the leaving somewhere like Rocky Mount, like Greensboro, going to a big city, it does make me, as Marsha say, it makes me, I'm ready to go home at some point, because New York can be a beast, man. It's too much cement, too many people. Yeah, see everything up there. Gregory and Julia, I know Greg gets the question totally. This is right in Greg's ballpark. So, what are you guys' thoughts?
I'm going to take it off onto a little bit different spin now. Felton, you were expecting this, I think. There are different motivations for travel. There is getaway, and then there's going in. And the going in is the pilgrimage. And any travel that we do can be turned into a pilgrimage. And that's where it goes deep. And God puts people in front of us and experiences in front of us when we are on pilgrimage. And if we are sensitive enough, if we're paying attention,
Open, like Alana said.
Then we will experience things that are different because we've opened ourselves up to those things on pilgrimage. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a trip where you're out having fun. Nothing wrong with that. But if we're out and being intentional about life, then occasionally, in fact, some people do it annually, it will go on a pilgrimage.
Well stated. So, yeah, I didn't expect anything less. There's a book called The Alchemist that speaks on that kind of just, going after pursuing your fortune. But, what you go looking for, sometimes you already have, but you have to go somewhere to understand it from a different perspective. Well said, Greg. At some point, we don't have time tonight. I'll have to talk about my drive across this great country to California. That was along those same lines, Greg. And Alana, opening up, just exploring, stepping out on faith, that they say, all of those wonderful things. Yeah, great. Yeah, I didn't expect anything less than that, Greg. Thanks for that contribution. I really appreciate that. Brother Mike, save you for last, man. You get the question. What's the answer?
First, I want to say, when you spoke about me and Brother Khalid, man, it's just like iron sharpens iron. That's what it's been between me and him, man. He's been helping me. I've been helping him, so that's what I want to say about that.
Can I interject real quick before you go on? Because I want it to be known how I'll say magnanimous, look it up, but how great and grand that comment is, man. I think it's highly important for us to understand you learn from both directions. You don't have to always be the old teaching the young. The young can teach the old, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. If you're not, as my grandmother used to say, if you're not always learning,
you stop growing.
Yeah, man, stop growing.
Yeah. So to go on with the question, two things. I'm gonna have a little sense of humor with mine. I know people have maybe heard like, man, I can't take you nowhere. You don't know how to act. So that's how it is kind of a little bit with traveling. When people like, man, like when you see somebody, oh man, that's nice. Like, dang, have you ever been anywhere before? So thank God that my parents introduced me, that my grandparents, that then when it came to traveling or doing stuff at a young age, like 16, 17, I was going to the club. My grandparents ain't allowed that, so I can't get in trouble. But so it was different. It's different. It was culture. The culture shock was over. And that's what happened when you don't travel. When you go somewhere, it becomes a culture shock. For me, I can go anywhere. Like, we lived in Reason for a long time, but then I moved to Pelham for 2 years, and that was more in the country, in a small area. I was like, God, I got to get out of this everything's small. So I've been in Greensboro going on 2-3 months now. So it's a lot different, a lot faster, a lot going on. And then I'm always working on the ground, like with my activism. I go to Elizabeth City, Alamance, Raleigh, I've been down there. Wherever there's some action, I get down there to it, man, by the grace of God. So it's not got me afraid to travel. I'm ready to travel. I'm like, man, let's pack up. Like, we supposed to went to Elizabeth City Monday. I reached out to Brother Khalid, one of my sisters, Sarah. She said, hey, yeah, I go. I was like, all right, let's go. We was going to load up a day bag and go down there to activist work down in Elizabeth City, but I had some dates mixed up, so we didn't go. But I'm saying that to say that is that, like, I don't mind packing a day bag and go. And then when I get ready to go, I might not pack a day bag. I pack for 2 or 3 days. And they be like, why you got so much stuff packed? You never know what's going to happen. You might break down. Anything can happen. You might have an extended stay. So you need to pack for a couple of days, even if you're going to stay 1 or 2 days. I pack for 3 or 4 days. So that's another thing about traveling, too. I can put you on some stuff, too. Like, if you're going to travel, don't pack for that day or two. Pack just in case something happens, you extended stay.
That's really good information to have, Mike. I think it's critically important to pack some extra underwear and extra socks, man. You just never know. And if you don't have access to a wash machine, you'll be happy you did that. Definitely very important to do that. So we kind of touched on it, and I wanted to bring it back to Khalid. If he could frame it, you might have to speak in the third person, Khalid, but and I'm glad you're here. And Alana, you follow up if you can, because we touched on the importance of kids, youth traveling. So Khalik, in this short period of time, and you've touched on it already, but why is it important that you see more than just Rocky Mountain?
It's important that you see more because you may never know what you like until you really put yourself out and experience different things. You may never know what you really like until you experience different things. So it's very significant. It really is. Because like me growing up in Rocky Mount, I see Rocky Mount, I see a few things or whatever. I was from down south Rocky Mount. There really wasn't too much around. I've never really been out the city until I was about 10 or 12 years old, I'd say. 10 or 12 years old, somewhere around the area. But once I started to get exposed to different things, it was very enlightening for me, and I love to see it. And it really enlightened me. It was.
So, Alana, I'm gonna let you follow up with his Khalik's comments similarly, but you can make it about yourself. You can definitely do that, but
I want to say that he said it, knowing what you like, because if you don't know what you like, you won't know how to proceed in life, period. So that was very profound, brother. Is it Khalik?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, Khalik. So yeah, that was it right there, really, to be honest.
so your parents have to be a part of that at that age, and the people that they trust you to be with have to be on board also. My aunt, who probably was like Alana, struggling trying to get in here tonight. I'll have to do better in the future as far as just sending out the link instead of the registration. But my aunt was supposed to join us when we were kids. My sister and I, we would go to Connecticut every summer. I think probably starting around maybe 11 or 12, maybe it was before that probably. But it was, oh man, hated to leave friends and didn't want to go, and all of that stuff was a thing. And then after we went a couple times, we stayed for a month or two sometimes. We anticipated going. We knew we were going to see friends we had made up there. We knew we were going to go to places that we enjoyed while we were up there. So it begins with the thought of opening yourself up. But sometimes, young people don't know what that means at all. They just want to make sure that they're in the place that they're comfortable. But that little nudge and that push has to come from the adults. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Yeah, great statements, well said and well framed. And Danya, you can throw Miss Marsha's comment back up. I would love to read it. Miss Marsha says, in my travels to Europe, all I could say was, wow, I never thought I'd live to see the history that I read about for so many years. The best thing about Florence was a gospel choir in a storefront singing Amazing Grace. All I could think was how awesome God is. Yeah. Seeing stuff that you only saw on TV or read about in a book, and then getting some more pieces of the puzzle, gospels singing in front of a building, seeing a famous place of an author. In my case, my sister went to Paris, and she would be a good person to have on for this conversation also. She's going everywhere. But she went to Paris, and she made sure she took a picture of the place that Richard Wright lived while he was over there. She knew that would mean something to me. Speaking of which, I just got his most recent book. Read, everybody. Just pick up some summer reading. That's a part of your vacation plans. Make that important and intricate. Escape through some literature. Very important. As we wind down and as we get ready, what's that, my man? Brother Mike? You start us off there. What's your book, and tell us anything you got going on. Otherwise, just we're going around, get those final comments. But what are you reading?
Oh, this book right here, man. I got this book in 2011 while I was incarcerated. I always go back, and what I do is I mark things in my books. So get your marker, get your highlighter, and just make mental notes in these books, man, when you read them, man, especially books that educate. But this is the book that Hill Harper wrote to the incarcerated brothers. These letters incarcerated people wrote, discussing how they felt, what was on their mind. They didn't have no one to talk to. They had Mr. Hill Harper to talk to. If I don't know Hill Harper, he was played in a lot of different shows. So he took time to think about us that was behind the wall or that's still behind the wall. Big shout out to my boys that's still behind the wall, fighting like hell to get out from behind there for some things they shouldn't be in there for a long time for. So yeah, that's what I do, and I like to educate myself on. I seek wisdom and knowledge and understanding all the time. Don't say I read every day, but I try to scan some pages and read something on a daily devotional or something off my phone, or something off social media. What I'm working on now is some great work with a mentor, Brother Merle, projects at the Teen Center. Looking to grow food deserts, community gardens, so we can feed people, so we can bless people. The crop that Sis Julie and Brother Gregory picked, I took that to my grandma that y'all picked. So I gave it to somebody that deserved to get it the first time. Next time we'll find people that's less fortunate. But I was able to bless my grandmother that is living, so it felt good to me as a black farmer. And our great farmers has been out there with us. Shout out to Brother Jason and Brother Jim, and shout out to Mama Portia for the vision to bring to the Teen Center. Big shout out to her and Quentin Robinson and the Recreation for allowing us to use the Teen Center. None of this would be possible with a lot of different hands, man. So appreciate everybody. And then we fighting like hell for the accountability for Fred Cox. Was killed November 8th, murdered by crooked murderer Michael Shane Hill. 3 weeks ago, Gifford County DA Avery Crump, crooked Avery Crump, let him walk. She allowed a grand jury to pick this verdict that he was not guilty after he pulled the trigger and shot this man 4 times in the back. So we fighting like crazy for this young man every Friday. And I'll close with this. Every Friday we'll be in some area, some location. I will be posting it like crazy every day coming up to Friday, fighting for accountability for Fred Cox. Fred was shot at a church November the 8th, 10 days. They thought some gangs that killed him. Come to find out it was a detective from Davidson County that killed him, that murdered him, shot him in the back 4 times. We have our own George Floyd. We fight like hell for George Floyd. Let's fight like hell for Fred Cox. Fred shouldn't be dead. So his death passed three days after the verdict came through that they was not going to find him guilty. The detective murderer Michael Shane Hill. So we are the voice for Fred Jr. and Fred Sr. So I need y'all to step up, step out in these streets, man, and help us fight for accountability for Fred Cox. You're
talking about the young man in High Point, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Appreciate that. And I always appreciate what you do, Mike. And I want you to make sure you stay on the line after we wrap up. I want to chop it up with you real quick after we're done. Okay. Just stay on.
Thank everybody on here, man. It's a pleasure being in a room with loving, caring, genuine people, man, that let your hair down. Those saying they say. So thank y'all, man. I love y'all.
Yeah, I totally agree with that sentiment, Mike. It's a different level of comfort, man. And that's, this is what community is supposed to be like. That's why we're in this space.
And blessings to Gregory and Julia, man. Don't know me from a can of paint, but they came down to spend some time with me Monday, man. So that was great, man, to get their love, man, and to show them around Reedsville. So I love y'all.
Good stuff, man. Appreciate you. And you mentioned a lady that's near and dear, Miss Portia. Every time my name comes up, I gotta say something else. I had the pleasure to talk to her the other day, and she was doing fairly well. Lisa, thanks for joining us. I'm glad you could make it on. Like I said, I'm gonna get it sorted out, so make sure it's a little easier to just send out the link instead of the phone number thing. Khalid, coming to you, man. Any final thoughts? Anything you need to get off your chest? And if you're reading something, what is it?
I've been reading a lot of books since the beginning of this year. Of course, I do read, but I'm a history buff, so I love to read a lot of things on history, Black history and things like that. And I've been reading a lot of significant books. This is a book right here called Black Labor, White Wealth, right here. And I read this book right here, Message to the Black Man. And there's also a book right here by Dr. Umar Johnson. I just recently went to see him in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He came down, I also love politics, so I'm reading this also. And this is government, not politics. So yeah, it's been very interesting.
Great, man. I'm sure your backpack is probably busting at the seams, man. Those some big books. Yeah, so I don't know if you know, Khalid, but I am currently in a PhD program getting my history on, so to speak. So I have my master's from NCCU in history. So we have some conversations to have, man, and I look forward to having them, all right? Because the fact that you're doing that is very important. We need more Black academics. Don't listen to the naysayers when it comes to education. Everybody just thinks it's about a check, man. We gotta put some contributions into how this world works and functions, how it's shaped, and it's not always about some greenbacks. Of course, we want a comfortable life, but we don't need so much money that we gotta, hold it to our face like it's a phone and all that silliness. Anyway, get off my soapbox, man. I don't know what your musical tastes are, so I don't want to insult you. This new age stuff, guys.
As far as music, I love Nat King Cole, Brown, Jackie Wilson,
Marvin Gaye.
Yes,
Marvin
yes.
Gaye, my man. All right,
Al Green.
Yeah, you're all right with me, man. Teddy Pendergrass, yeah, you're all right with me, man. Look. Stay away from this current stuff, man. It's poison. I'm sorry, and I'll debate, go toe to toe with anybody who try to defend this stuff. God, it's terrible.
One quick thing. How about John Baptiste?
John Baptiste.
He's
the band leader.
Band leader on Stephen Colbert's show. He's got an amazing
Staying Human
band called Staying Human. Look at Freedom. He's got a new, look that up.
Okay.
But I love your takes, Khalid.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Sorry for the interruption. I just had to get on with you.
It's not an interruption. While you're still unmuted, what are you reading? What do you have going on? I know Greg will be back, but what are you guys up to? I know I'll be seeing you soon. We've got a date circled, so I look forward to that. So what do you got going on?
We don't have a lot of time for much reading. We often will just pick up a book and look at passages. We're reading. I'm reading a book we talked about, Cast, right now. We have to have more discussion about that, Felton.
I may have just ruined your lenses on how you read that book, and I haven't even read it. I just have my you can talk me into liking it, Julia. I'll give you space for that. We'll see.
I also have read The Alchemist. Just want to put that out.
I do. I just am interested in the relationship between Khalid and activist Mike, and also what Alana does, because that's why I love to travel, because I love people and care about them. And I didn't hear about that connection. Do we have time, or are we over?
Yeah. If you can give us a quick spiel, Brother Mike, on you and Khalid's connection.
Quick spiel. Down in Elizabeth City, fight for accountability for Andrew Brown, because it's liberty or death. But Khalid came up to me and said, "Man, I like your art," because I always keep the jury. I always keep on something to explain how I feel, who I am. And we connected, and we exchanged our messenger, and we've been fighting on Messenger together. And we had a rally up here last Saturday. I went and met his parents and them halfway, picked him up, and brought him up to the rally, and we brothers, man, and we iron sharp as iron. We fighting in this thing together. Liberty or death. No justice, no peace.
Love that, man. Very, very, very much appreciative of that thing that comes with community and going out and meeting new people. And that's definitely a part of travel, right? You didn't meet in your familiar surroundings. You didn't meet in Rocky Mountain. You didn't meet in Reedsville or Greensboro. You met somewhere other. That's you don't get that if you don't go outside your box. Good stuff, man.
And having a purpose, that's the common. And I'm so impressed with Khalik's respect and the way he handles himself with adults. And you're just awesome, Khalik. Don't want to make you feel too special, because that's not a good thing too either.
I think the humility expresses itself in some of the literature. Yeah, some of the literature he held up. You can't read that stuff with a big head. So yeah, that's good stuff, man. And I have some recommendations for you. We'll catch up on that. Brother Mike will definitely get us in contact with each other. Alana, you had a question of what you do. You can definitely kind of sum that up in the best way you can for Julia, and tell us anything you got going on, and if there's anything you're reading.
So first, I would like to lead off and piggyback off of everything that Miss Julia just said about Khalik. Brother, listen, I feel like a proud mama, okay? Don't know you. Like Mike said, from a can of paint. But I'm very proud of you.
I appreciate you.
Doing what you're doing, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I am a mother first. That's my number one career. But I am an underwriter for title insurance. So I am in real estate, and my career transition is going into mortgages. So I'll be more versed in that area. And I don't have as much time as I would like for reading. But the one book that I am slowly getting through is Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. I forget the author's name, but that is one that I am working my way through.
Great to hear. Does it matter if you take and read it in 2 days, or if it takes you 2 months or 2 years? You're definitely edifying yourself when you choose some of the books that have been shared here, especially. I mean, there's value in all of these things that I've heard thus far, including Cass, Julia, including Cass. So, Meryl, I think you'll get to take us up out of here. What you got going on, and if you're reading something, what you're reading, and we'll slide on in the home plate.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'll share a couple of things. I definitely want to echo the sentiments for Mr. Brockington here, man. I'm telling you, brother, you definitely, we're going to need to check your birth certificate. Because
thank you, brother.
Yeah, really, but I really impressed, man. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing, especially in the area that you're in, man. There's a lot of rich history in Edgecombe and Nash counties, man, and like especially as far as Black ownership and land ownership. So I'm glad to see that you're getting some good guidance and that mutual learning from you and Mike. Let me see a couple of things. I'll share one thing. There's we're working on some digital navigation, trying to support folks that don't have access to internet or access to digital skills for workforce development. Danya and I are going to be in we got a little video short that we've been working on that'll be ready soon. We're doing some partnerships with Alamance County, so I'm excited about that and appreciative of all the stuff that Mike has been doing with our community garden work that has a host of characters that's been supporting that. So I'm really excited about that. And as far as books, just finished reading a book by Marty Linsky. It's called Leadership on the Line. And it kind of like juxtaposes this idea of romanticizing leadership as like this, sexy, cool thing, to be a leader or something, but talks a little bit about like the risk of leadership and what that comes with. Just finished that book, and what I'm reading right now is super duper. Actually, I'm gonna show it to you. It's one of my favorite writers. This guy named Shea Serrano, and he has this book, and it's light, but it's super heavy into data, and it's called Basketball and Other Things, and it makes these arguments about different eras in basketball or different players using like wins over replacement, PR, all of those stats, all of the analytics that people don't like talking about when you're looking at advanced analytics, when you're comparing eras and players. And it's super geeky, but I love it.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I do like just reading stuff that is attached to other things, and I think about how this season the NFL is adding another game, and the thing that you're talking about is probably in that book some kind of way is records are gonna get broken, and you're gonna recognize some other player for being so great. But they had a now at this point, I think the football season used to be 14 games, and now
Yeah.
it's going to 17.
Mhm.
So yeah, you have to take into account certain things that are not that are different, and stats and all that stuff would play a good role in comparing athletes across generations. Good stuff. Hey
Yeah.
guys, I've thoroughly enjoyed each and every one of you. I thank you all for coming and occupying the space. I thank you all who are watching online, who've sent in comments. I appreciate you, Marsha, as always. I appreciate you, Lisa. There's my aunt. Thank you for being there. Thank you for taking care of us in Connecticut, bringing us up there every summer. So she did watch. Love you all. Take care. Have a wonderful evening. Mike, hang on for me. And go ahead, Khalid. You got something you want to say? I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
I apologize, but I'm putting together a 252 Million Man March in Rocky Mountain soon. So stay tuned for that. It'll be amazing.
Now, when you get that beard, you ain't gonna want it, man. I see you rubbing, man. When they come in, you're gonna be like, "Dang, I wish I had." I don't know. You just, it's coming, man. But yeah. Hey, look.
Let me say. I want to tell Khalid that you need to look up Ripple Effects if you don't know them. Reverend Keisha Spivey. It's an unbelievable organization that you need to check out, man. Out that way, but we'll connect you.
Yeah, and that's what, definitely we'll be in touch. And I'm hey, man. I don't know what dates did you say, Khalid?
It'll be around planning for August the 7th as of
right. Okay. Well, look, I'm gonna make that trip. I don't mind driving an hour and a half, 2 hours to come support you and support what you're doing. And I love to see what you put together, man. So we'll talk more on that on the other side of this thing too. And I'm gonna like I said, Mike, just hold on a second after we go off the air, and I want to chop it up with you real quick. Look, everybody, take care. Kylie, thank you for being the pleasant young man that you are. Keep up that good work, man. Don't let anybody deter you. It's so easy to be respectful, nice, knowledgeable. Just keep all this stuff going, man, and take you far.
So much.
Gregory, Julia, have a wonderful night. Lana, take care. Brother Mike, see you on the other side of this thing. Y'all have a good one. Take care, everybody.